guys. I'm always surprised when there are people here. Good, great. You got a microphone, so you must be doing something.
Yeah, well, we're going to help moderate here.
Okay.
So my name's Cameron, this is Adriana. So if you want to point people out, maybe the most handsome or attractive people who you'd like to take questions from, we will hand the microphone over to them and kind of go from there.
All right.
And just before we do get started, I just want to say from myself and everyone in this room, thank you for being here and thank you for doing this. And that's fantastic.
It's great being here. Do I have to hold one of these microphones? Is that how it works?
You can if you would, or there's the stand over here perhaps. Whatever suits you. We can set you up.
I'm in school when I'm doing this, or I'm in church or something. Okay, whatever. Anyway, it's great to see you guys. Here, okay. This is not. Is it on? Can you hear me? Yeah. You probably can hear me without it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell? I'll just.
It makes you seem even more important.
Yeah. I got a microphone. It's not really. Okay. So anyway, yeah. Hey. All right. Well, it's great to be here, and obviously, I guess this is a Q&As, which means that any questions that you guys have, as long as I can lie convincingly, we'll get through it. No, I'll answer as honestly as I can, and yeah. So I'm never sure what. So we'll just see what happens in the next few minutes, and yeah, go from there. So I'm Ernie Hudson. Probably tell about the T-shirt, and I was in a few movies, among them Ghostbusters 1 and 2, and everybody's been asking, which before you stand up and ask it, I'll respond to it. Is there going to be another Ghostbusters? I have no idea. The studio says there will be. Ivan Reitman, who I saw at the premiere of his movie Draft Day, said that definitely. He actually hugged me and whispered in my ear, "There's definitely going to be a Ghostbusters 3, and it's going to happen soon." So from my ear and to you guys, I hear it's going to happen soon. But I've been in Hollywood a long time, so I don't believe everything they whisper in my ear. Okay, so, but it would be great. The fans, you guys have been so amazing, and when I see guys in their suits and their backpacks and their ectomobiles, that's really extraordinary. I mean, that is so humbling, and it's incredible. Because when we did the movie, you never think that you hope people will like it, and that it'll do well in the box office, and then after a few months of that, we moved to the next thing. So the fact that 30 years later, we're still having conversations about Ghostbusters, and that's kind of cool. So, and even if they do it, I don't just assume that I'll be in the next one. I like to think I will be, but like I said, I've been out there a long time. So, and they make strange choices, and but I'd like to do the next movie, and I'm hoping.
Mr. Hudson, you are not in the next movie. We got your back on that one. They will definitely
So my line is, if there's a steady paycheck in it, so if having my back means there's some money in it, no, I appreciate the sentiment. No, I think it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah. So any questions you guys have? I'm trying to think of the obvious stuff that. Let's see, is there another movie? Why won't Bill Murray do the movie? Which I was coming up on the elevator, and he talked for 10 minutes, the whole walk, about why Bill Murray wouldn't do the movie. It's like, he was actually upset with Bill. It's like, I don't understand. He did Zombieland. I mean, come on, Zombieland. It's like Ghostbusters. I'm like, it's okay. So I hope that was not too bad of an impression. So Bill Murray. I love Bill. He's an amazing guy and very creative, and I love the fact that he can't be bought off. Because I can be bought off, you know what I mean? I can. You can offer me so much money, and I'll go, okay, I'll do it. But he wants it to be, the way he wants it to be, and you know, and that may change from day to day, and that's okay. So I can't imagine it without him, like I couldn't imagine without Harold. And now Harold's not here. That was the one thing I really wanted to happen sooner, because I just couldn't imagine doing it without all the guys being back. And of course, you know, life is, you know, none of us know. So it can never be, you know, the way it would have been, and it can never be, in my mind, you know, without Harold. It's going to be, but it'll be something else, and you know, that's okay too. But it'll be something hopefully unique and original, and hopefully something good. But without his sort of creative input, it'll be different. And I always feel that Bill Murray was at his best when he worked with Harold. I think Harold brought the best in him, and I think he brought the best in Harold. And but anyway, as far as I'm concerned, you know, I just want to get paid. Yeah. So now I'll open up to any questions. Hey.
Which scene did you think was the most fun to film?
Which scene was most fun to film? I love the scene coming across the bridge in the car where Daddy and I talk about, because a lot of it was sort of jumping around and kind of on the fly, and some improv stuff. We had the script was already there, but we would sort of go with what was funniest, so it changed a lot. But that was a scene that was sort of down, and it gave me and Danny a chance to actually do what I do, which is to just sort of act without trying to find the comic, you know, through line. And so that was a lot of fun. But the whole movie was, it was great. It was great being on the street with Bill Murray, especially, and seeing how much fans, you know, people would, taxi drivers would just stop their car in the middle of the street and jump out and go, Bill, Bill, and I mean, they just love Bill Murray. I'd worked with actors before, Ghostbusters, but I'd never seen anybody who was sort of loved that much, you know, and he would meet women and he would just grope them, you know, and I'm thinking, you know, I'd get arrested, but I'd be so in jail, you know, but no, but he's really, really a cool guy, and I appreciate the fact that, you know, he basically said that he wouldn't do it if I wasn't involved, and I don't know how much weight that carries, but the fact that he cared enough to say that meant a lot to me. So I have a lot of respect for loyalty, and because there were times, I'm sure you guys know, that I sort of felt a little outside of the box there. It's like, okay, hey guys, but he's always been very inclusive, and I appreciate him for that. Any other questions? Yeah.
You were in a wonderful film called Space Hunter.
Space Hunter, yeah.
And that was executive produced by Ivan Reitman.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, is that how you first got to know Ivan Reitman?
Yeah, I did a movie called Space Hunter with Molly Ringwald and Peter Strauss, and it was in 3D. And it was about a year before we did Ghostbusters. We shot it in Moab, Utah, and then we shot it up in Vancouver. And this one, film was just starting in Vancouver. We went up there in '81, I think it was. It was like no film production. Now it's like one of the film centers of the world. Most of the content, I think, a lot of the content is shot up there. And there was a director, Jean Lafleur. He was the writer, producer, director, did everything. I mean, he created it, and it was called Adventures in the Creep Zone. That was the name of it. And then he got fired after about 3 weeks into it. I didn't know if you were the writer, producer, director, everything, that you get fired. I was like, really? So, and then they brought in Lamont Johnson, and then Ivan Reitman was the executive producer on it, and Harold Ramis was one of the writers. And so we did that movie, and then that's how I got to know him. And I remember being at when the film, we shut down for a while, and then we started up production, and Ivan Reitman came to sort of get things, and that's the first time so he said, well, let's have breakfast. He was leaving the next morning, he said, let's have breakfast. So I was standing outside the restaurant in Moab, Utah, waiting for Ivan to come up. So Ivan came up to me and said good morning, and then a guy out of nowhere walked up to us and said, hey man, talking to me, you know where I can get some drugs? And Ivan looked at me and I'm like, dude, I have no answer. Like, I don't know who this man is. It's like, I hadn't thought about that in a long time, but it was mine. So, and then and Ivan, so we did that movie, and it did okay. It was in 3D, and the 3D was a little kind of odd. It was one of those movies where we premiered in New York, and the projectionist, somehow somebody got on his nerves, so he locked the door so they wouldn't keep bothering him. It was at the big premiere, and so he started the movie, but the movie was out of focus, and so everybody had the glasses, and so people were turning their heads trying to get the thing, and when it was over, they had an after party, and nobody would look at me in the eye. You know, people would like look down, you know, because they thought the movie was so outrageously bad. But the movie came out flat without being on, and it was actually, I liked the movie. It was actually pretty good. But anyway, so that was the year before, and then the next year, I heard they were doing Ghostbusters, and I saw Ivan Reitman. In fact, I first heard about Ghostbusters through Ivan Reitman. I was at Cedars-Sinai Hospital, and I got on an elevator on the 10th floor, and Ivan stepped on, and I hadn't seen him. I was like, hey, hi, you know, how you doing? Good, good. And we were riding down. He said, I'm doing Ghostbusters, and I didn't know what Ghostbusters was, and I said, well, it's great, it's great. He said, but there's nothing in it for you. And I said, well, you know. He said, well, you know, you got Bill and Danny and Harold, who I had no clue. I mean, you know, so I hadn't been a big fan of Saturday Night Live, so I said, well, great, I'm good. Good luck with that. And and then I heard there was a part that they were thinking about casting an African American or somebody black or whoever, somebody different, and so I tried to get an audition, and they wouldn't see me because the character I played in Space Hunter his name was Washington. And he was sort of bigger than life, you know, I kind of had a low voice, and you know, he sort of kicked things, and he sort of yelled. He was sort of bigger, one of those big personalities. And I think he thought that was me. So he thought it would have been, and that guy would have been wrong for Ghostbusters, but I'm an actor. It was a character, and my head was shaved, you know, and so finally, after about 2 months, and they saw everybody. All my Hispanic friends had gone in for the part. All my Asian friends had gone in for the part. I'm like, I couldn't get an interview, honestly, God. And then finally, my agent called and I got this interview. And I got the script. And when I read the script I thought the script was really amazing. And I was a single dad, raising my 2 sons. And, you know, and there were times when things were a little tight, and I needed this job. So when I got the script, I let my sons read it. And they kind of helped me prepare for the audition. And when I went into the audition, I just nailed it. I mean, I was so good. I was so good. There are times when you just know, you know, I was good. Harold Ramis was in the room, and Ivan and a bunch of other people. And when I finished, it was like, okay, now so I just knew. So I went home and I told my sons, nobody's gonna do this part better than me. I mean, I got this role, and the character was all the way through the movie. It was a bigger role, and so I got a call back, and they said they wanted to put me on film, and I thought, but they had a camera in the room. I thought it was on film, so I went back and I got put on film, and then they called me back and they said they wanted me to come in and do a screen test, and I said okay. So I went back in the screen test. And then they said, well, we want to see Ernie again. So now the fun is sort of, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, I mean, come on. And then after about, I don't know how many times, and then they said, we really love Ernie, and we really think we want to, but there's an actor in New York named Cleavon Derricks, and we kind of want to see him. So then I was like, okay, forget it. And I told the boys, okay, just prepare to be hungry for a long time. And but finally, after a lot of whatever, I got the part, and yeah, and it was fine. Ghostbusters it was a lot of fun. People say, oh, it must have been so much fun every day. Yeah, kind of. But there were other times when you just would sort of stare at somebody thinking, I could knock this guy out. You know? So I mean, there were mostly good moments, but there were some other times. Okay, so all the fun, and so yeah, so I'm very, very happy. I'm happier now than maybe at the time. You know, now you have time to look back on it and you kind of go, you know what, that was a really cool period of my life, but it was a lot of growing up lessons to do. And a lot of really understanding how Hollywood works. If you go to Hollywood and you have an agent, get an agent who has a lot of power because he can go in there and he can fight for things. If you get an agent like my agent, who was just so happy to have an actor working, it's like, oh, and he really wants the people to like him. So if he's trying so hard to get them to like him, he's not fighting very hard for you. So the deal he brings to you and say, just sign here, it's really cool, they really like you. It might not be the best deal. In fact, I guarantee you it won't be. So you want to get somebody with power. But you know, we live and learn, and yeah, so, okay. I'm gonna take this in that way. It's like, oh my God, he started talking and it was so depressing. Anyway, but yeah, so any other, sure.
Yeah, you've acted for a long time now. What's your favorite role that you've done?
Well, you know, when I became an actor, I grew up in Benton Harbor, Michigan, which is not too far from here. I mean, it's on the western bottom portion of Michigan, right on Lake Michigan. And the chances, I never met an actor before, so I didn't even dream about becoming an actor. That was like something that, you know, that's something you do in Hollywood, you know, and so by the time I finally discovered acting, it was like really, really cool. I mean, I thought, okay, I just feel so blessed to be able to do what I love to do. I didn't really worry about necessarily becoming famous or getting rich or anything. I just wanted to be able to make my living doing what I love to do. And I've been able to do that for almost 50 years now. And so to answer that question, it's for me, I just like to work. And I love when I read a script, there's an intuitive understanding. You know, some characters are kind of, you just sort of get it. You know, as actors and directors and writers, we're storytellers. We tell these stories. And it's nice if the stories have integrity. Sometimes a story, you know, you get it, and sometimes you kind of go, I don't know why I'm not feeling that, because they're written in a way to try and manipulate you to spend some money, and they're not really about telling the story. So, but when I see a character and I get a chance to tell his story in a movie, it's really exciting. So they're all kind of, Winston was sort of an odd guy, but I liked Winston. I liked that he was sort of, he was sort of outside of, he was kind of, you know, he was just a guy just trying to get through it, and whatever you say, just fine, just pay me and let me, you know. The movie The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, I liked that character because that character was, I felt, the best part of me. He was mentally disabled, for those who saw it, and mentally disabled, it's like you're perfectly normal for a certain period and then your growth sort of stops. So you might be 45 years old, but you're a perfectly normal 7-year-old. And when I was a kid about 10, I fell and, actually I didn't fall, a guy kicked me and I fell back and I hit my head and passed out. And I always wondered if it had been really, if I had suffered some kind of severe damage, what would life have been like if I got stuck at that time? And so when I played that character, I thought of that. But there was a sincerity about it that I love to play. And so in Congo, it was great to be the guy who, I just felt very international, and I felt like this is a guy who is much cooler than I. Sometimes you play characters who are much cooler than you are. You know what I mean? It's like, I did The Great White Hope on stage, and people really liked that character. It was based on Jack Johnson. He was the first African American heavyweight champion. He was dashing, he was handsome, he was cool, he was buff, he was all the stuff that I didn't see myself as. And so people would really say, just be the other guy, because Ernie Hudson is not. When I went in a bank in character, people would sort of let me get in front. And when I go in as Ernie Hudson, it's like, don't even think about it. We all have a certain rhythm, and I think when you can find the rhythm of a character, he sort of changes. And so that's the stuff I like to do. So they're all kind of fun for different reasons. The guy in The Crow, who was sort of at a strange time in his life. His marriage had fallen apart. He was not loving his job. And then this kind of weird guy, this weird incident happens. And it's important for him to get a hold to his life again. So it was interesting finding that character with Brandon. So they're all a little bit different in my mind, at least. And but I love acting. That's the part. And so it's not about. I wish probably if I had thought more about the money. Not to say. I mean, I make a good living. I'm not complaining about that. But I think it's more important that you find something that you not just enjoy doing, but that you can do. I mean, because every job I had before I became an actor, I always thought they were going to fire me at any minute. And you kind of go, I have no idea what I'm doing. And when they find out, I'm like, I'm so out of here. But on stage, I felt like, okay, I can do this. I got this, so, yeah. Any other, hey.
Do you have the Lego Ghostbusters Ecto-1 set?
No, I don't have the Lego. I plan to get it. I have 5 amazing grandkids, and so I get to get the toys and stuff and sort of hang out with them. I'm afraid I don't know. I've never been able to make anything with Legos, I got a nephew, he just snaps that stuff together, and I was like, dude, and he makes things, and it's like, it just seems so complicated to me, but anyway, so, yeah. I mean, taking a trip to Legoland would be really frustrating. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, Bill, Harold, and Dan, they came from a more improv background, SCTV, SNL, National Lampoon, and everything.
Yeah.
Just wondering, while working on Ghostbusters with them, I've heard that there's a lot of improv and there was a lot of just going off, like you said, on the fly and everything. I was wondering, your background wasn't really that. Did you have any problem keeping up with them, or was there any times that sometimes you just broke out laughing because of what was going on?
Yeah, no, I mean, I started theater in college, and we did the traditional, theater, and I'm an actor, but I also was a dad. I got married really young. I got married right out of high school because the girl I was dating, she didn't get along with her mother, and her mother made her wash dishes, and I said, "Oh, you don't have to take this. We can get married." And she said, "Okay." And then as soon as you say something, you went and go. So I said, well, about the married thing, she said, no, I really want to. And so we got married. And then she got pregnant, and we had kids, and then eventually she didn't want to be married anymore. So, but what about the kids? And so the kids stayed with me. I've said all that to say when you have 2 little kids, you have to do improv, whatever you want me to be. I'll be funny, I'll be dramatic. I got to get the job. I have some actor friends who are action stars, and they've had careers, people who wrote things for them and created things for them. I'm a guy, I got to go in and I got to get this job, and whatever it takes for me to get the job, because when I get home and you look at your kid, you got to keep the lights on. And so, and the other one was really as a dad, when your son goes, hey dad, check this out. I really, see these are and I really, can I get a pair of these shoes? And the shoes are like $80 or something, and you don't have the money. And you said, well, those those are really nice shoes, man. You know, maybe at Christmas or something. I mean, you know, maybe we might be able to. He says, oh, it's okay, Dad. It's okay. I don't really want them anyway. Now you gotta get the shoes. You know what I mean? You gotta get the shoes. I mean, if you're dad, how do you not get the shoes? So to me, getting a job and that's all a part of it. It's all a part of being who you are and being true to who you are. You know what I mean? It's because I have no idea what the question was. But yeah. So whatever the question was, it's yeah.
How's Elvis, and have you seen him lately?
How is Elvis? I don't know. I think I see Elvis. Yeah, I don't think he's gone really. He sort of shows up in people. Some of the people come up to the table. You know, Elvis lives forever, and you know, he's sort of. Actually, you know, they asked me to my Elvis thing. They were doing Star Trek. Deep Space Nine? And so they brought me in, they called me in to audition for it, for the captain. And first I thought, they're not going to cast the captain as black. I mean, that's not going to happen. So I wasn't going to take it serious. And so I went in and auditioned, and they called the agent and said they really liked me a lot, and they wanted me to come back. And I thought, whoa, maybe they are serious. So they said, yeah, we really want Ernie to come back, but this time, tell him to be more sexy. What do you do with that? I don't know. You know, either you're sexy or you're not sexy. I mean, do you kind of? So I got ready for the audition, and so sexy to me is like, it's like Elvis Presley cool or something. So I went in to audition, and I kind of turned my collar up, you know, and I, and I started reading, and they said, "Oh, that's enough, Ernie, thank you." And so now I didn't think that maybe, I don't know what could have gone wrong, but I'm thinking I'm not sexy enough, and so that bothered me for a long time, you know, and and then they got Avery Brooks, and I thought, well, is he sexy? So anyway, but so Elvis lives forever in our hearts. And
I have a second question also.
yeah.
So you know how they made the real Ghostbusters? What's your view on the real Ghostbusters, and what did you think about Arsenio Hall doing Winston?
Well, you know, I love Arsenio Hall. Let me just say, I don't think he's very funny. No. I'm sure he's a nice man, but no, I really like Arsenio. And it was Ghostbusters. They were doing the cartoon right after we finished the movie. And I assumed that I would be doing my character. And I think that was sort of a given. The director wanted me to come in and, because he wanted to hear me read with some other people to see if he wanted to use these other people. And while I was reading, he said, do it. He said, you know, Ernie Hudson, when he did the role, Ernie was, I mean, really, you know, so I said, dude, I'm Ernie Hudson. I did the thing, you know. So they said, okay, you're going to do the part, the cartoon, which is great, you know, I thought. And then they called, and I was doing a movie. Only had a couple days left, which is, you know, I've done animation shows, so it's not a big deal. And then when I finished the movie, I heard they had Arsenio Hall. So they never called to say, I think the director wanted Arsenio, and I never thought to really kind of think I had to fight for the role since it was my role, but anyway, so Arsenio did it, and he and I laugh about it, and it's okay. It is what it is, you know. It's like it's kind of like the poster, you know, that has the three guys on it. It's like, thank God it's not Arsenio Hall, you know. But it's okay. I'm okay. I'm good. It's like I was in New York doing Oz, the series Oz, And it was during that time when they had those razors, you know, everybody's doing those razors, you kind of do the thing and you know those little two-wheel with the handle? Yeah, the scooters or whatever. So, and I thought it was a great way to get to work. So I would ride the razors, you know, but when it was like not a lot of traffic, I get in the street and I'd ride. And then I hit a bump and fell really hard. And when I got up, I found myself saying, "It's okay, I'm okay, I'm okay." And then you realize there's like nobody there. Nobody cares. So, so I had a lot of moments like that with Ghostbusters. But overall, the good far outweighed the weird, you know. And the guys are great. Yeah.
Make that the last question.
Yeah.
The cast is still hanging out.
So now, we clearly have some more questions here. How can people connect with you and ask you these questions, perhaps online? How can we get
Sure, yeah. Yeah, so, you know, I just started Facebook. Not that I wanted to. Because I think, I mean, who cares? I mean, really? I mean, that's me. I'm thinking, do you really want to know where I am or what I'm doing? And I had a friend, he's on my wife and his wife and their friends. They were having a long discussion of what Ian meant because he had posted that he had a large dump. And he's a writer. And they thought that he had really come up with some really creative thing. No, and so I asked Ian, what was the big dump? And he was in the bathroom. And I'm like, but why? Because I guess people discuss your dumps or something, I don't know. So my agent says, no, you gotta get on the social media because social media is so important. So I'm on social media, and I do try to do the Twitter stuff. I mean, I you know, because it's kind of like texting, and so you can find me on Facebook, and I don't even know the names of what is it?
Twitter. You're on Twitter.
I'm on Twitter. I do. Ernie_Hudson, and if you tweet me, tell me. Well, I'll follow you. Whatever they do on. And I post photos of me in weird places. You know, I'm on the helicopter over Niagara Falls. You know? And then they retweet it, and it's like it's so anyway. I don't even put it down, but it still seems weird to me. And Lincoln and Pincrest, is it? Whatever, you know. So I'm there. I have a presence, you know. And so I just started public speaking a lot more. I used to do a lot of it. So if you need a keynote speaker at your next event, you know, I'll come and depress your. So that's kind of fun. It's a little bit different because actually, you know, I'm public speaking more because, in all honesty, as much as I love acting and I love acting, it's getting to a point where you just go, really? I mean, really? I mean, okay, so Dean Cain called me to be in, he was doing a movie called My Ex-Christmas. And it was great, and I had such a great time, and I loved working with him. I had fun doing that. But when you're doing stuff like Heroes, and they call you up and say, Ernie, we love you, we're big fans of yours. We want you to be on the show, and you're going to be on, we're going to do multiple episodes, and you think, oh my God, they love my work. So, Heroes. What power am I going to have? I mean, am I going to be able to walk through walls? Am I going to read minds? I mean, it's going to be something really. No, Ernie, you're the detective. You're going to be on a couple of shows and we're going to kill you. That's what you do. You know, I mean, Desperate Housewives, like, oh, Desperate Housewives, okay, all right, wow. They love my work. They're with me on Desperate Housewives. There's going to be several episodes, so which housewife am I going to sleep with? You know, which one? No, Ernie, you're the detective. So now it's like, you know what? Unless I really want to do it, I don't, you know, I'd much rather do a convention and hang out with people and laugh a lot and kiss some babies. You know what I mean? I get to hug people and stuff. You know, and that's fun, you know? I mean, and I love acting, but I just don't want to be there, kind of, you know? Like, well, we have Ernie Hudson in the movie, but I'm not in the movie. I'm not doing anything. It's like, so it's kind of a weird time in my life. I mean, I'm not going to stop acting, but I do think I used to say, yeah, whatever. You doing a movie? Let's do it. Yeah, do it. Right? So maybe it's time to just sort of rethink some things. Anyway, did I get the last question? I'm not sure of.
You did.
Sure. Yes, we are good.
I did? Okay, good. Good.
Good.
Oh,
And so-
baby, I love baby.
I think she has a question for you too.
And so, Ernie, you're heading down to Ecto 1 around 4 o'clock, I believe.
Yeah, I think I'll
You'll
be
photo op
at
there.
Ecto 1, which is an amazing car. You see that car? It's right. It actually looks like it might run. The one we had in the movie, that thing would break down so many times. It would run long enough to get the shot, and then it would break down. We were crossing the crosstown traffic in Central Park, which is like a major thoroughway, and the car breaks down. So we're holding up traffic. Danny and I get out and literally push the car. So rarely do I see an Ectomobile that actually works well, and that one looks like it'll actually run. Yeah, so I'll be down there taking photos, and I'll be back at the table signing for another, hour or so until the evening is whatever. And I just really appreciate you guys. I gotta say, I've been up here. Everybody, without exception, it's like really, really cool. And it's just great to be here. So thank you all so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ernie Hudson.
All right. Hey guys, have fun. Thank you.